gave no assurances to the US Government at the time. They declined to offer a full explanation. As I said last Thursday, I found that highly regrettable. I therefore do not know what the exact nature of those discussions was, nor what may have been agreed between governments. However, I am certain of the clear understanding of the American families and the American government. Therefore, it appeared to me that the American families and government either had an expectation or were led to believe that there would be no prisoner transfer and the sentence would be served in Scotland. It was for that reason that I accordingly rejected the Libyan government's application for prisoner transfer for Abdelbaset Al Megrahi. I now turn, as I did then, to the issue of compassionate release. Section 3 of the Prisoners and Criminal Proceedings Scotland Act 1993 gives the Scottish Ministers the power to release prisoners on licence on compassionate grounds. The Act requires that ministers are satisfied that there are compassionate grounds justifying the release of a person serving a sentence of imprisonment. Although the Act does not specify what the grounds for compassionate release are, guidance from the Scottish Prison Service, who assess applications, suggests that it may be considered where a prisoner is suffering from a terminal illness and death is likely to occur soon. There are no fixed time limits for life expectancy of less than 3 months may be considered an appropriate period. The guidance makes it clear that all prisoners, irrespective of sentence length, are eligible to be considered for compassionate release. That guidance dates from 2005. On 24 July 2009, I received an application from Mr Al Megrahi for compassionate release. He was diagnosed with terminal prostate cancer in September 2008. I have been regularly updated as to the progression of his illness. I have received numerous comprehensive medical reports, including the opinions of consultants who have been treating him. It is quite clear to the medical experts that he has a terminal illness, and indeed that there has recently been a significant deterioration in his health. I was provided with reports and recommendations by the Governor of Greenock Prison, the doctors and prison social work staff. Also, as laid out in statute, I consulted the Parole Board. They all recommended compassionate release. The opinion of his Scottish Prison Service doctors, who have dealt with him prior to, during and following the diagnosis of prostate cancer, and having seen him during each of these stages, that his clinical condition has declined significantly. Assessment by a range of specialists reached the firm consensus that his disease was, after several different trials of treatment, hormone-resistant, that is, resistant to any treatment options of known effectiveness. Mr Al Megrahi was examined by Scottish Prison Service doctors on 3 August 2009. A report dated 10 August from the Director of Health and Care for the Scottish Prison Service indicates that a 3-month prognosis is now a reasonable estimate. The advice they provided is based not only on their own physical examination, but draws on the opinion of other specialists and consultants who have been involved in his care and treatment. He may die sooner. He may live longer. I could only base my decision on the medical evidence that I had before me. It had been suggested that Mr Al Megrahi could be released from prison to reside elsewhere in Scotland. Clear advice from the Deputy Chief Constable of Strathclyde Police was that the security implications of such a move would be severe. A minimum of 48 officers would be required simply to allow Mr Al Megrahi to live in Scotland. I therefore ruled that out as an option. Having therefore met the criteria, it therefore fell to me to decide whether Mr Al Megrahi should be released on compassionate grounds. I was conscious that there are deeply held feelings and that many would disagree whatever my decision. However, a decision had to be made. It was a decision based on the law of Scotland and the values I believe that we seek to uphold. It was not based on political, diplomatic or economic considerations. It is a matter of great regret that Mr Al Megrahi was received in such an inappropriate manner. It showed no compassion or sensitivity to the families of the 270 victims of Lockerbie. Assurances had been given by the Libyan government that any return would be dealt with in a low-key and sensitive fashion. Advance notice of my decisions was given to the UK and US governments so that they could seek similar assurances. However, my decision was made following due process and according to the law of Scotland. I stand by the values and laws of Scotland. Scotland will forever remember the crime that has been perpetrated against our people and those from many other lands. The pain and suffering, as I said, will remain forever. Some hurt can never heal. Some scars can never fade. Those who have been bereaved cannot be expected to forget, let alone forgive. But as I said, Mr Al Megrahi now faces a sentence imposed by a higher power. It is one that no court in any jurisdiction, in any land, could revoke or overrule. It is terminal, final and irrevocable. He is going to die. In Scotland, we are a people who pride ourselves on our humanity. It is viewed as a defining characteristic of Scotland and the Scottish people. The perpetration of an atrocity and outrage cannot and should not be a basis for losing sight of who we are, the values we seek to uphold, and the faith and beliefs by which we seek to live. Mr Al Megrahi, as I said, did not show his victims any comfort or compassion. They were not allowed to return to the bosom of their families to see out their lives, let alone their dying days. No compassion was shown by him to them. But that alone is not a reason for us to deny compassion to him and his family in his final days. Presiding Officer, our justice system demands that judgment be imposed, but compassion be available. Our beliefs dictate that justice be served, but mercy be shown. Compassion and mercy are about upholding the beliefs that we seek to live by, remaining true to our values as a people, no matter the severity of the provocation or the atrocity perpetrated. For these reasons, and these reasons alone, it was my decision that Mr Abdelbaset Ali Mohamed Al Megrahi, convicted in 2001 for the Lockerbie bombing, now terminally ill with prostate cancer, be released on compassionate grounds and allowed to return to Libya to die. That was my decision. I will now answer questions.
Thank you. Thank you. The Cabinet Secretary, as he indicated, and I did earlier, will now take questions on the issues raised in this statement. It would be extremely helpful if members who wish to ask questions would press their request to speak buttons now. And I call first on Ian Gray.
Thank you, Presiding Officer, and can I thank the Justice Secretary for his statement and for making it available in advance. Last week, the Scottish Government made a wrong decision in the wrong way with the wrong consequences.